Welcome to Blink 182. Whoa. I'm tired.
Welcome to Blink
155. Welcome to Blink 155, Canada's #1 Petra podcast, which is a thing that I just told you I wouldn't say, but my original plan for opening up the podcast was to say something like, welcome to Blink 155, Canada's #1 podcast dedicated to the Twitter account at Blink 155 pod.
Yeah, well, it's basically the same thing. I mean, what you just read that you don't even understand is an inside joke from our Twitter. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, like we are basically a Twitter account with a podcast at this point.
At this point, yes. I can't even keep up with it. But actually, I wanted to start off immediately, if you'll allow it.
I thought I had a good opening, but that's fine.
I just want to go off topic and not talk about something other than Blink 182 completely and play you something.
I don't know how I feel about that.
This is the first time I've ever gone off topic.
Breaking tradition. All right, well, it's fun. This is, I believe, our 40th episode, and so it's time to play with the format
this is 40.
a little bit. Play with audience.
This is 40.
Play with audience expectations.
Well, it's just we have an audience now, and there's something online that someone sent me that does not seem to have enough plays, and it doesn't have an audience, and I think it's really important that we play it. So I'm just going to play you something right now.
Okay. Good.
It's amazing. It fits so perfectly. It's so perfect.
It's so good. I just want to say I appreciate how excited you were to play that it literally happened in the first 90 seconds of the podcast. But
I just
to me it's telling in terms of our focus and maybe our process that when we've had some big exciting guests that are A, deserving of our respect, but B, potentially of tremendous interest and value to the audience that you are describing off the top. We put them at the 2-hour mark of this podcast. We bury them. And
but I think
a Rancid Cardi B mashup.
A Cardi B Rancid mashup is much more important than any guest we've ever had, in my humble opinion.
I agree. That's what's people are obviously listening to this episode that says the name of the song featuring Rancid and Cardi B, and they're so excited.
Well, that's newfoundgucci.bandcamp.com, and it's a new pop punk versus rap mixtape. That's definitely the best one on there.
Are any of them close to that good?
There's Fat Lip by Sum 41 mixed with Ray Sremmurd, and then Paramore times Future and Panic at the Disco times Kyle times Lil Yachty. But I think when I heard that Cardi B one, I was like, she sounds exactly like Tim Armstrong. That must be why I like her, because she's just
the heavily accented kind of delivery where you're making you're not even no attempt to sort of hide whatever your sort of speech quirks are, but you're digging into them and sort of inventing a character around it.
I think Tim Armstrong might have invented modern rap at this point.
Yeah, dude, I'm totally down with that assessment.
So I just needed to bring that up off the top. But the other thing that's going on is people, I'm mired in at replies from people all over the world.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to have a coherent kind of opening, but it was a reasonable diversion. Yeah, your life has changed.
So I'm sorry. I have a bad cough.
Yeah. Oh, I promised you I would vamp through your sickness. So your life has changed as the pod, becomes again Canada's #1 Petra pod or whatever it is. That success has changed your life much more than it's changed mine.
It really has, and possibly for the worse. But people have been saying, in fact, someone even thought that something I said they thought I was you. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking Sam. Don't ever say that to me again.
Yeah, I wondered how offended you were when someone was like, this response is
I don't know why.
Sam-like.
It's not like I said something was good. I didn't like say an earnest positive opinion on Twitter.com.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, no, I was like, you'll know when Sam's here, but it's because people are like wondering, like, where's Sam lately? Like, he hosted the Junos and then he disappeared and then he came back for a bit and he disappeared again. But a lot of people don't know what you've been up to lately.
Yeah, no, it's true. I have been studying, returning to my first love, which is dance. So a few of my close friends know this. When I was younger, I used to take jazz dance classes. I was the only boy.
Wait, is this real?
Yeah, no, this part is actually
so
real.
So this is along with the band camp, the Pella, the musicals.
Yeah, I also took several years of jazz dance.
Did you dream of being on Broadway?
No, I think, I've tried to sort of understand what it is that I liked about it. Because, how there's always, the one boy, and increasingly this is changing, but it's sort of, when we were younger, kind of, braved maybe, taunts or sort of dumb gendered misunderstandings and danced because they were fucking great at it. And I was terrible. I'm a not coordinated. I'm a wretched dancer. But I think I just really loved music and didn't know the avenue to pursue. And so you end up studying jazz. And I was I would sashay with the best of them, Josiah.
So you're back to studying dance right now, is what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm back in the habit, just sashaying through Toronto.
But you also have told me that you are taking some online courses.
That's right. Yeah. So
and I'm trying to understand this because when you explained it to me, it was it's weird because it's the kind of thing that you could either brag about or not brag. It's you're basically going to bougie University of Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So because you're teeing it up for me here.
Yeah.
So I am taking a pre-MBA certificate through the Harvard Business School online. So
you are going to ivyleague.ca or something.
Yeah. I am fully going to DeVry, Boston.
So you could be yo, I go to Harvard online. And then people are I don't know what that weird noise was he made after, but it must be an affectation of the higher classes that I don't know.
No, it's one of those things that I think, I have seen in sort of studying, looking into whether or not this was a course that I wanted to take. I looked for people's kind of commentary on it online, and I obviously saw a lot of people, on social media, especially on places like LinkedIn, truly the hottest social network online.
I think we need a better presence on LinkedIn.
I do. Maybe I'll run the LinkedIn because I'm going to Harvard, so I'll
yeah, online,
obviously. But that's the thing is there are definitely people that are sort of in this course that will brag about it on their socials, they're going to Harvard, and it's my people, you're going to Harvard online.
But it must have been kind of hard to get in, right? Or does it just signing up for Tidal or something?
It's just it's not quite signing up for
you forgot
for
to
Spotify.
Cancel the month. You forgot to cancel the month free subscription, so now you just have to take the course because you paid for it.
That's it. Yeah, it's actually modeled after the sort of Tidal membership system. I've actually no idea how hard it is to get into it. So for all I know, anyone could get in. But
you at least need a modem.
Yeah, the modem's a basic requirement. Look, the most important thing is that my dad was able to print. I did get an acceptance letter, on Harvard Business School letterhead that my dad was able to print out and put up in his office, which I think sort of justifies doing things like hosting a Blink-182 podcast.
Well, yeah, but I mean, truly, this has been eating up tons of your time. You actually barely talk to me anymore. I'm feeling really neglected over here.
I have it's been tough, and I've been doing it since January, and it's sort of it's been escalating in difficulty, and I am I have a full-time job, and it's become so I feel like you're leading me into something here.
All I was going to say is that anyone if you've been wondering where Sam has been, he's been going away to college. My other potential intro, because people have been really angry about how much I mentioned Christian punk on this podcast. We've already mentioned the band Petra twice, but I was going to talk about They're just like they're sort of like
I don't
Striper,
care. Go
I think,
ahead.
kind of thing. They're like a sort of hard rock Christian band. But I was gonna do like an Adam and Eve story about how they were naked, but then after the fall of man, they became ashamed of their bodies, and then something about them being covered with a leaf, like don't leave me.
I like that your intros are always functioning at this much higher sort of wordplay level. I believe Wasting Time was a favorite. If you haven't listened to the Wasting Time episode, at least listen to the first 15, 20 minutes, however long it takes us to get to the intro. It's pretty good.
Well, I'm like,
mine
yeah,
are always
that's the
very
thing.
literal.
But that's because you're just like running a major record label and going to Harvard, and I'm just thinking of puns for about 15 people who appreciate them. That's what I do.
There's at least 2 full tweets worth of people that appreciate them. So, it's getting up there. It's getting up there.
So today we're talking about the song "Do Not," or in the parlance of that bot that was talking about the California Deluxe, it's "Don't apostrophe to leave me."
Yeah. We're adopting the parlance of the bot for the remainder of the pod.
Yeah.
So this song is, I believe, as you described it in the chat with me when we picked it, one of the last low-stakes songs that we have left from Enema. Meanwhile, we have dozens of California Deluxe songs. So stick with us, guys.
And like a bunch of songs that are called like Untitled 3 that are from some fucking demo someone found somewhere.
Yeah, so it's going to get real good in the last year of the pod. But for now, we're dealing with a low-stakes banger, in my opinion, and something tells me, Josiah, that you feel the same.
Yeah, this song fucking rules.
It's so
like
fucking
so
good. It's so good.
It's kind of perfect. It's truly a perfect Mark song. And you know what? Actually, this is kind of embarrassing. I had a dream last night that I ran into Mark Hoppus and his wife at a thrift store.
That is
and I was like,
embarrassing.
that's kind of weird that they're at a thrift store. But they were like on a date, and I was like, hey Mark, I host a podcast about you. And then he was like, I heard that you just shit all over me on that podcast. And I was like, oh, that's not totally true, Mark. I was like trying to cover for it. That was my dream last night, literally.
Dude, you have to get like a third hobby. So
My
like,
wife is out of town this week. I'm just like alone with all of this Blink-182 data.
yeah, I was like, how's the week been? Like, you're just like a bachelor in the swinging city of Calgary, and you were like, I've watched more cartoons. That was it.
Yeah, that's about it.
So
I had that dream last night, but I think, Mark, if this would be a good one for you to listen to, because this is a great song that you wrote, and I love it.
This is going to be one of the most vigorous ball washings that we give to Mark Hoppus, and I could not be happier about it. I do want to return to the dream, though, for a second, because I was kind of hoping you were like, hey,
you're hoping it was a wet dream?
No, but that when you told Mark that you hosted a podcast about you, that he named like the 5 other Blink-182 podcasts, and then was like, oh, sorry, I've never heard of this one.
Well, that is actually something we should bring up. I know we can't do it tonight because Harvard boy over here, but we are going to do a exclusive where we review all of the other Blink-182 podcasts. So look for that. That will drop this month for sure.
Because there is, just to tease it again, like I was doing some like late
you found
night.
another one.
I was procrastinating and I was self-Googling the pod, and I found like another podcast, another podcast. Like I can't believe
and that one
we
I think
40
started this
episodes
year,
in.
or it started late last year.
Yeah, that podcast
Like it started
is
after us.
a few weeks old, so it's at least it gives me sort of some empathy for how the other 8 Blink-182 podcasts that existed before we came on the scene and pretended like it was a brand new idea.
I'm hoping that eventually all podcasts are just about Blink-182.
I mean, I think that's sort of the direction of the toilet bowl of online content. Friend of the pod, Dan Forcier, was messaging me today because Jonah Ray, who apparently has a cover band with Mark Hoppus, just had Mark on his podcast, and they talk about Tom. I haven't listened to it yet. But
what?
Yeah, so just like all content is eventually becoming Blink-182. Chainsmokers, that's Blink-182 content. Mystery Science Theater 3000, that's Blink-182 content now.
Today, this like journalist Adam Johnson NYC on Twitter, I guess his podcast, Citations Pod, I don't know, probably some dry ass political shit. Oh, it's about media and PR and stuff. But I guess he dissed Blink-182 and then on his podcast, and then everyone alerted me immediately, and of course I was there ready with that retweet finger. So we are really just I think you're right.
Are you always on the Blink 155 Twitter? What would your ratio of like sleep to Blink 155 kind of Twitter look like in an average day?
Well, I use it on my phone so I can switch easily between accounts. So I just I wake up and see like it says like 20 plus notifications, and I'm like, well, time to start the day.
Here we go. Yeah, back into the Twitter content mines.
Back into the retweet mines.
But I want to return to this song because this song is actually worthy of our attention.
I think we've talked about it enough.
I mean, I don't know what else we'll have to say besides the fact that like it is. We've talked about online.
And to use Sam terms, this song fucks.
This song, I don't think I get credit for that. I saw that also on Twitter, some confusion about the term fucks, and it was credit was given to me. I certainly have stolen it from somewhere. So lest it be sort of a slang that I act like is an invention of my own. But this song fucks, man. It does.
It's really good, and this song is sort of. I think this is sort of like what he's trying to do on California.
I was thinking that kind of the whole time, especially the way the first verse is structured, right? So you've got this like big immediate kind of instrumental hit. You've got the bell of the cymbal part. It's just like it is like so shiny and so huge, but so like absolutely that era of pop punk, like the most perfect distillation of it. And then that like just punch on the kick drum and bass.
Oh, it's so good.
Feels like the kind of
this is going to be our worst episode. We're just
absolutely
it sounds good.
It's fucking wicked. It sounds like the kind of trick that I think Feldy tried to throw constantly at California that was like unnecessary, didn't serve the song. Whereas here, like that's the way the first verse sounds. Then it builds into the second verse. Like the whole thing has it feels like it's arranged the way it was supposed to be arranged, as opposed to arranged in a way to like confuse you and make you think it's a better song than it actually is. I need you to see how much I'm using my hands as I talk about this song. I'm like almost in my full wingspan. Like,
did you know here's a little peek behind the curtain. We've talked about how my whole life is just like taped together with like garbage everywhere.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a mic stand. Like I don't use a mic stand when we podcast.
So you're holding the mic right now?
Yeah, the whole time. I always hold it.
Jesus. Doesn't your arm get
sometimes
this podcast goes on forever.
It feels nice, but you'll notice sometimes my voice gets quieter towards the end of the episode because I'm slowly dropping the mic like lower down. So that's just a real secret of one of the pros. But you know what?
Are you sitting?
Like it.
Are you standing?
I'm sitting. Oh man, imagine if I was standing.
I mean, people
with
work
like
at a
one arm behind
desk.
my back holding the mic, like
Yeah.
I'm like in a big Canadian modern pop punk band.
That's what I was picturing though. Like I am picturing you kind of like doing moves
Like with one of those like old school 50s microphones.
you're holding a ribbon mic. You swing it occasionally as like when I'm talking and you're not paying attention to me. That'll be for the live show, which like we are leading towards, right? Because we got a couple months till you're in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Toronto in September.
So we're teasing the live show.
That we'll do an episode about "Wake Me Up When September Ends" that month.
The big hit. This song does sit in this sort of category though of perfect Mark songs that we've talked about before. Online Songs was an early example where I think we tapped into this sort of special thing that defines not just one of Mark's songs, but a Mark song. And I don't think there are too many of these songs.
I do think that there's a marked, pun, accidental, but great. There's a marked difference between these Mark songs, Enema and Forward, and what it was like on Dude Ranch. Because I think he also tapped into something really special on Dude Ranch, but it was more like earnest and kind of emo. But then on this song and afterwards is like very just effortless and cool and fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the good Mark songs, the closest you get to like Mark songs on Dude Ranch definitely have that like super sincere emo feel. And so I wonder if that kind of makes this like the first Mark song. because
Right.
this is like track 2 on Enema. So we've got through the sort of lullaby, the nursery rhyme misogyny of Dumpweed, and then all of a sudden, like, this moment happens, which is like, it's like this song is sort of like a nothing, like it just dissolves in your mouth, but it's just like so perfectly constructed.
Well, apparently this is also where I think it started a bad habit or a bad like locked mode to be in. But apparently he wrote this song in 5 minutes.
I mean, hell yeah, dude.
So I think that's also like California syndrome. They're like, "Well, we'll just write all these songs in 5 minutes. It'll be fine," because it worked with "Don't Leave Me," and it really did work here. Like, I mean, I just feel like we can't stress enough how good it is. Another thing I love about it is that, and this is something I don't think they've used very much elsewhere, but it's a very pop punk move that they barely use. But the palm muting is basically the lead, like the at the start.
Yeah,
that's like they don't really palm mute very often, but it's just like there's so much personality to that opening chord progression, and it's so straightforward.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, we always play these covers where somebody does, I'm going to make it seem like Tom's back in the band, and they do like a big hammer-on riff on top of a song, which like assumes that that's how every good Blink hook goes. But the idea that you can do so much with so little, just being very straightforward, and yeah, like that palm muting part is basically the hook, right?
Yeah, that's basically the whole song right there, and it's genius. But another thing, I'm not even going to bother playing it, but they played it with Matt Skiba at Musink last weekend or whatever, or whenever that was. Mm-hmm. And he didn't mute the chords at that part. He played like open guitar chords.
Like just that, wah.
Yeah, it was like so like the one thing that you should do, he didn't do, but whatever. I mean, he's living his life.
Yeah, like let the Skiba skeeves, man.
Let's just be posy this app.
This is apparently this is what happened, man. You started tweeting like you were me. All these like, oh, I'm like friendly with everyone. I like stuff.
It's because Mark visited me in a dream last night.
Is that's it? You were visited by the ghost of Mark's, I guess, yet to come? Was that sort of the concern? But then maybe you can kind of change the future.
And change the course of history. I do think, yeah, lyrically too, like it's pretty much nothing to talk about, but I think it's Mark at his hoppiest. There are a lot of things that like you just hear him like when you hear I said don't let your future be destroyed by my past. She said don't let my door hit your ass. You can't read that sentence without hearing Mark's distinctive voice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's perfectly in his voice. And then the other thing that I love about it is like it's a breakup song about him listening, pretending to care. And then whenever I heard the bridge before, I didn't realize this till today reading one of these like lyric sites, but someone pointed out the "one more time with feeling" thing. I thought it was like a reference to like, I don't know, a rap song at the time or something. But I think someone pointed out that it's him admitting that he's acting because that's like what a director says to actors. Like, let's try it one more time with feeling this time. Like, so that's his way of like slyly saying that it was all an act on his part.
Yeah, well, the thing that I love lyrically about this song is that it is a sort of like generic enough kind of breakup tune, even though it has those like subtle complications, which I think are what again makes it like a fucking perfect banger. But it's not that going away to college thing, which is like literally like I was listening to before we started the pod. There's that sound at the end that kind of brings it right into that song. That's like too specific and too pandering to a perceived audience, but it's generic enough that you can imagine. And I remember being like young and feeling like you could relate to it. But I also have no problem, as an adult, looking back on it and in retrospect feeling like that's probably a way that Mark felt breaking up with somebody, like it at that time. It feels like it's both honest and yet consciously broad enough to appeal to like a wide swath of fans.
It's funny that you say that because there's this annotation from Tom, the previous guitarist of the band Blink-182, Tom DeLonge.
Oh, yes.
He actually said that like Mark didn't have a girlfriend at the time. So we'll just read his quote, I guess. May as fucking well. I don't know.
Yeah. No, like it's fine.
I guess I'll read it. I don't know. Mark wrote that song, so I can't really speak about what was going through his mind when he wrote that one. So good thing they asked Tom to comment on it. But I can judge on the lyrics. He wrote that song when he didn't even have a girlfriend, so I don't know who he's talking to. Sometimes you write a relationship song that really doesn't have that much deep meaning. I think it's just like that feeling when you're really in love with a girl. You're just thinking, please, please, please don't stop liking me. That's the gist of the song. All the times you put your feelings into liking a girl and she doesn't like you at all and she thinks you're a scumbag. So therefore, that song's like a prayer to a girl. Always hoping that you won't make the girl throw up forever. Always hoping that the girls will love you. We speak for all males. We write songs hoping that girls will like us dirty, rotten boys for a long time. Now, that really actually reads like a Leo Diho quote, to be honest.
Yeah. There's some complications in there for sure. But it's funny because, like, do you feel like when you were younger, and I think we listened to slightly different and some of us, like, more emotive versions of punk, but like that if somebody was writing not from lived experience and not from in the moment, like somehow that felt inauthentic. And only, again, as an adult, am I like, why on earth does all songwriting have to be a diary? But that was a way that I think some of us were maybe grown up to feel that like punk or punk adjacent genres were supposed to be. Like, do you remember feeling that way at all?
That might be, I'm trying to think. Like, I never really was much of a lyric person, especially with punk music. I never really paid too much attention to it. A lot of the bands that I liked had like just complete bullshit lyrics, like fucking the Blood Brothers. I'm sure their songs are about something, but who knows? It's all about like pianos and stuff.
Woo! I mean, I just remember very specifically, and this is a band that I sense that you might not have been into, but a great band, Saves the Day.
I only recently got into them, actually, just that one classic album.
Yeah, Stay What You Are.
Yeah. But that was way later.
Yeah, I mean, like that record I actually do think holds up, but I remember, you know, especially like some of the stuff before that is obviously like amazing. Everything after it, I'm not super stoked on, but those are like really sort of seemingly very specific and relationship kind of centric narratives in all of those songs. And I remember like a friend of mine being like, "Oh, I just read this interview with Buddy from Saves the Day," and like, he like literally makes all of it up. And we were so bummed out about it because it was like, it just seemed like it had to be coming from an earnest place. And if he's just making it all up, who cares? And again, that's like a really literal teenage or college age way of looking at creativity.
Well, the thing that I wonder is maybe that's just your framework for understanding what seems like what seems bad or good is that you think that it's either authentic or inauthentic. Because recently, to bring it back to Twitter and Christian pop punk, as I always do.
Jesus Christ, man.
But recently, Mike Herrera from MXPX was on this like HGTV show, like called Fixer Upper. Like him and his wife moved to Waco, Texas, which is also amazing because I just watched the show Waco about the David Koresh cult, which is an amazing show. But anyways, they moved to Texas, and MXPX Memes sent me the link to watch it while I was alone in a hotel room. So I watched it, and there's this
Sorry,
scene.
would you not have watched it? Like the implication here being that you would not have watched Mike
I couldn't
Herrera.
find it on Pirate Bay. I just couldn't find it, and I was like,
Okay.
I don't have anything to do right now. And luckily, he had the hookup. He had the plug. So shout out MXPX Memes.
Sick.
But I watched it. It's really horrible. The host of the show is like new levels of embarrassing that I've never experienced before. I can't even explain it. He keeps talking to Mike about how he's like a rocker. He's like, "Oh, you're a rocker, right? Do people still do this?" And he like headbangs and does like air guitar. It's so cringy. But anyways, there's a scene where he posts like to surprise them for the house that they build. They post this giant, oversized, stenciled metal thing that's like a love song that Mike wrote for his wife. So there's these lyrics like up in the kitchen on this giant board. And no disrespect to Mike, but the lyrics are like really, really generic stock pop punk lyrics.
Yeah.
But then she's like crying because she's like, this means so much to me. So I think it's more like, it's hard to tell. I think it's just really hard to write a good love song, first of all. And second of all, it's hard to tell what's based on a real experience or not. And maybe it's easier to hide the cheesiness if it's not a real experience. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you can sort of throw up masks and just say like, "Oh, I'm inventing a scenario." I would like to make a suggestion though, because I believe, as we've mentioned, your wife of the pod, Sarah, has been away for several days. You still have another day until she returns, so that's enough time for you to potentially stencil some prenup lyrics inside of your kitchen.
That's true.
And then maybe share her reaction with Blink 155 Pod Nation.
Yeah. Well, we actually one of the songs that we just released from our album that's coming up is called Internet Arguments, and it's about like me being a shithead online and everyone being mad at me. But I actually wrote that song as a love song because it's like about Sarah like standing up for me online when people are mean to me. And I was like, oh, that's so yeah. Like in my mind, I was like, this is a love song, but then everyone's like, oh, it's a song about how this guy's an asshole, and I'm like, yeah. Also, it's that, I guess.
Yeah, that's again, my really literal read of it was, it was just about you online. But so that would be really sweet. I think you should put up the lyrics to the song about you saying that all of Calgary rap is terrible and then being flamed by the Calgary rap scene. Put those lyrics up in your kitchen as a devotional to your wife.
It sounds like a bit too much work, considering how many audio plugs I'm going to have to put into this episode when we're done. But I will say that another device that I really like about this song at the end that I feel like is like more of an old school songwriting thing that's not really on California is I just love that he ends it with "I'll be fine." Like I just think it's a nice sort of period at the end. Yeah, he's just saying like he's just admitting that he's fine with the breakup. Like it's just a really nice device.
Yeah, I mean, the song does have just such a clean in and out. I mean, again, just like structurally, the arrangement of it, not doing just like a normal ring out, not doing something where you're like ending on you're not resolving or bookending it with the same kind of like hook, but having that just like new lyrical idea drop in at the conclusion is just like a nice piece of writing. I also love the bridge, like you sort of mentioned, like lyrically, it kind of being this kind of reminder of maybe the sort of emptiness of the earlier kind of like sentiment. Mm-hmm. But like the way the harmony gets layered in halfway through, I mean, I don't know, and maybe I'm going to regret saying this, like how always great Blink has been at bridges. Like sometimes they're really just like an instrumental breakdown and then back in, and some of them are like inventive instrumentally, and that's cool. But like this is just such a great new melodic and lyrical idea, like the sort of simplicity of repeating it and emphasizing it with the harmony before sort of just coming back in with the chorus again. I guess good.
That's maybe why I didn't think of it as, because I've always thought that their bridges are almost always amazing. Like often their bridges are the best part of their songs for me.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to regret it. Like it's funny how just as it was coming out of my mouth, I was trying to like listen through every Blink song in my head. Like I couldn't hear anything.
Even just I think that was really like, damn it was what solidified it. Like put a bridge in the middle of the song where things get quiet and add some dynamics. And then you got a fucking hit, baby.
Hell yeah. Also, such good Travis drumming on this. Like this is like my ideal Travis drumming, where it's like super fast, super tight. I can't actually imagine Scott playing this song.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. I have a bunch
maybe that's
of
a good lead in, because I felt as it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, I bet that exists.
I don't know if Scott ever played it, but I'm just gonna go through all the videos that I shared in order. It's not a very good lead in at all. Oh. But I just feel like there's one video, if I play it at the first, it might ruin all the other videos because it's so good.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna play them in this order instead. So have a look at this one, because I have no clue where it comes from, but everyone shares it all the time. There's this acoustic video, Mark playing it, and he has like a beard. It's really weird to see Mark with a beard, first of all.
Unsettling. Whoa, that's so weird.
That's my one criticism of Mark in this episode, is that he shouldn't have had that beard.
Some people should not grow beard. He looks like a...
Mark Hoppus is supposed to look like a Ken doll at all times.
It makes him look so much like... I mean, Mark Hoppus has like a sort of just like a nice, soft frat boy face that I think is very beautiful, if he's listening. But... this makes him look like a dude who like would talk your ear off about what a sick band Dispatch is.
This is my favorite Blink-182
this guy goes deeper than Dave
really
Matthews, and he listens to like the song, the band with a really popular song on Napster.
I learned how to play that song in like 5 minutes on the first day that I bought my guitar.
So I'm glad that this was short-lived.
It's very difficult for people to learn how to play, but it goes like this. It's called "Don't Leave Me." It's off of Enema of the State, track number 2, MCA Records release. It goes like this.
Don't leave me all alone and just drop me off at home. I'll be fine. It's not the first, just like last night, but a little worse. And she said said that I'm not the one that she thinks about, and she said it's stop being fun and just bring her down. I said, don't let your future be destroyed by my past. She said, don't let my door hit your ass. Just give me one more chance, I'll try this time, I'll give you yours, I won't take mine, I'll listen up, pretend to care, go on ahead, I'll meet you there. And she said that I'm not the one that she thinks about, and
That gave me such a like celebrities, they're just like us kind of feeling.
Yeah, totally.
Like, dude.
While I was watching it, I was kind of realizing, like, you can only really write this song once, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Expand on that thought.
It's perfect chord progressions that are completely stock, and it's so simple and straightforward and kind of nothing of a song, but it's perfected. Like, that's the kind of song where you're like, okay, this is the kind of song that is why they needed to do self-titled, because they've already perfected the form of making dumb pop punk.
Totally, yeah. This is the logical end point of that. So anything, and on some level, it's like that. What happens when you kind of continue to try to replicate that is California, which apparently this podcast has just become me using good old songs to shit on California. But like and that becomes like a quote that people are sharing. Like
your quotes about California are like the Marilyn Monroe body shaming quotes that people share now. It's like that viral.
Yeah, I'm always I'm a big fan of the sort of quote of the week that Pop of the Pod Bill Billingsley does, but they're always either you saying something like really funny and like coming up with a great new turn of phrase, or me being like, I just truly think that Neighborhoods was ahead of its time and an album that we have all grown to appreciate as we age, like the sands of time through the hourglass.
Well, it's a Harvard grad.
It's true, yeah.
When you do the valedictorian speech, that's what it's going to be all like.
Oh yeah, well,
online. Harvard Online is the valedictorian speech on Twitch, or how does that work?
Yeah, everyone gets to give it, and everyone does it on Twitch. So I will actually be doing my Harvard Business School online valedictorian speech as a exclusive in June when I finish the program. So look forward to that. Please give us all your Patreon money and see what pearls of wisdom, highly quotable pearls of wisdom, fall earnestly from my mouth.
So do you want to hear one time Tom sang the chorus live?
Yes, I do want to hear that.
All right.
I like the illusion of control that you're giving me, though. Hey, man, do you want to hear this? No, I want to go to sleep.
I have a lot of YouTube URLs written down, so trust me, take my lead for your own good.
Yeah.
That was Tom singing it.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know that I wish that they did that on the album, but maybe I wish they did it on the album.
Well,
like this could have been a cool Tom Mark joint.
I shouldn't have played that yet because I think I have to play the good thing, the best thing now. But that just makes me think about how before they were a tightly oiled machine that was playing along to click tracks and everything, they were truly like, yes, bad live, but like loose as hell, trying different things, singing weirdly, doing stuff like this where it's just like mixing it up a little bit. I think how I was thinking about it was like the way that they tour now, and it's all just like a well-oiled machine and it's the same thing every time, is like what our podcast is going to be like in a year. But right now, we're sort of in this like fun phase where it's like loose and fun and exciting. Like in a year from now, we're gonna have to talk about Casper mattresses the whole time, and like you'll have been replaced by someone because going to Harvard for real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's my exit strategy for sure. I just like the idea of like maybe we should sort of do a trial run next week and do a podcast that like starts with like cool funky music, like bloop 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 bloop, bloop, and like a voice that's like from the studios at WKRB. It's Blink 155. Bloop 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 bloop.
But what I'm getting at is that like when they were touring around this time, when I think sort of around when Travis was first in it, especially. There was just a sense that they were kind of bored with everything, and as a result, they were so fucking energetic. And when you hear this song, even on the Mark, Tom, and Travis show, which has like funny bands as well, obviously, but it's like a lot faster. But then I found this version that everyone was talking about, which is live at Daytona Beach in the year 2000, and it's some sort of Much Music spring break thing.
Hell yeah, Daytona Beach.
But yeah, I don't know. It's another one of those like Much Music VJs that I can't quite recognize. But while you're figuring that out, like just listen to this. Literally, I feel like it could move me to tears. It's so good. So let's just listen to this.
Just the opening shot is so 90s looking.
Yeah, exactly. But just the way that they play it is like when you see that opening shot, you're like, oh, this is like a 90210 episode. This is like where the jocks are. But then you hear this and you're like, this is an actual punk band. Like, okay, here's them live at Daytona Beach. Unfucking believable.
That, oh my God. Like, it is such a perfect distillation of this moment in time, though, because first of all, like, I don't think Daytona Beach is truly happening anymore. There's like I think a pretty good Harmony Korine anecdote about like him trying to write Spring Breakers and going down to Daytona Beach because he was going to write it like in the hotel with all the just like, you know, debauched chaos around him. And he got there and there was just like no kids. And he asked him, he's like, where does everyone go now? And it's like somewhere in Mexico or whatever. So just like the setting, like everything about it is so of an era. It just like looks like they got booger snot written in tape on a...
Yeah, I think that's the bass cab, right?
Yeah, on the bass cap. And I believe the Much Music VJ that is introducing them, and I'm having some trouble with my internet over here, it looks like it's Rachel Perry, who, I don't know what Rachel Perry's up to these days, but I recall, you know, thinking she was great, probably having a little bit of an adolescent crush on her. So I'm just like so into this. This is like...
Oh, yeah, that is her, definitely, Rachel Perry.
It's Travis Barker like joining the band sort of Dread era, which is like very
But he's like
funny
extremely playing the drums like in a way that adds to the song but is also very fun to watch, and you're like, this guy's a crazy drummer.
Yeah, you're like, this boy is going to be the biggest star in the band one day. I can see how this would move you to tears. Like, this is such a beautiful thing.
I think what it is what frustrates me is that people, I assume, go to concerts now and want it to hear like the album, but I love going to a concert when it's like this chaotic. Like, it's so fucking chaotic sounding. You almost can't latch onto it, but you can just enough where you're like, okay, I recognize this song, but also I feel like I'm about to have a heart attack.
Oh, dude. I couldn't even hear what you were saying because I saw in the like up next videos in the tab, Blink-182 live at Daytona Beach 2000 full concert.
Oh, so good. Maybe we should do a exclusive about that one day. Just watch it together.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was uploaded by your friend and mine, the Tenacious Bastard. So adding that to my watch later list, that's pretty great.
So unfortunately, because of this video now, everything that I'm going to play after is going to sound really slow and boring. sadly.
Yeah, it is that like just sense that it could kind of fall apart at any moment, but it's obviously not going to, especially because Travis is such a like fundamentally sound drummer. And I don't know. I mean, you said it before, but the idea that like now when you go see this band, it's all like just like piano samples in the background, and it just like this is the thing that like drew people like you and I to this band. Ah, God.
And just this is what I loved about this is why I started going to punk shows, which is like, I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say there's an element of danger here because there's obviously not, but it sounds dangerous in a way. Like just the thought of it being that fast feels scary. It's like you're watching someone do a balancing act or something.
I think the thought of this also compared to like the dregs of grunge that we were kind of getting at this time as people who maybe like missed like the more relevant waves is like bad fucking Pearl Jam albums.
Or like Days of the New.
Yeah. Oh, that song bangs though. But that's the thing is like that, and it's funny how like it is very funny to sort of put Blink in this camp where it's like, no, that's what like the first wave of punk bands of the 70s were doing was sort of dethroning these like horrid dinosaur rock bands. And obviously like Blink-182 with their like very like sweet demeanors and you know rosy red cheeks are not like a dangerous force coming for fucking you know, prog rock, but there still is an element of like when you were forced to choose as a teenager between like one subculture and another subculture and maybe just like a more sort of dominant mainstream culture, like why would you not pick this?
Yeah. And also like even just looking at it, like with the tape on the amp too, like you watch this video and you think they probably loaded those amps on the stage. I mean, they probably didn't, but looking at it, you're like, this band could have conceivably driven here in a small van and loaded their amps on the stage and then played a Much Music Spring Break special.
And then thought, like, what should I write? Like, was there an era, like, was Booger Snot an era of Mark's Bass Cab?
It must have been.
But, like, because I like to imagine that, again, yeah, they drove themselves here, which they absolutely didn't do. They loaded their gear themselves, which obviously didn't happen. And then Mark, you know, just before the show starts is like, I got something to say. And it's Booger Snot written in masking tape on the bass cab. Booger Snot is so perfect, too. It's like, it's the most, like, potty humor can be tough to nail, and Booger Snot is...
Yeah, it's so dumb.
So good.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, that video also made me weep, and I can't wait to see where we go from here.
Well, I think I'm going to skip one of them because it's really dumb and bad. But I just would like you to know, along the lines of the All the Small Things BBC show, Blink-182's relationship with the BBC also included this song was for some reason played in a series of Doctor Who promos on BBC Two.
What?
But it's like literally just the song with like all that fucking nerd shit from that dumbass show. So who cares?
So that's what you're not playing. You're just
I'm not going to play.
me?
But we've talked about how people improve the songs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I think I'm going to play you this improved version of the song. Or maybe it's improved, maybe it's not. But it's worth playing. So let's hear this alternate edit of the song.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Do you need me to vamp?
No, it's okay. Okay.
Don't leave me all alone. Just drop me off at home and I'll be fine.
Yes. Oh, that's a great precursor to our coming exclusive on the Short Music for Short People compilation. So
yeah, we're gonna do that as well. We're gonna go through the whole fucking thing.
That was so good.
That was by Nick Sheridan Cuts. It's just called the short version.
So wait, does Nick Sheridan, like as his name suggests, just cut up songs and make them the perfect version of themselves?
I don't know. There's like, oh my god, they just autoplayed some Walter White shit. I don't know. He edits eBay
Let's
ads.
cook, like, Josiah.
Greatest TV show of all time.
Oh yeah, truly. That and The Wire, you know.
I don't know. He does all kinds of stuff. Looks like it's a lot of commercials and stuff. It's not just. I don't know. This guy's not worth our
Okay,
I don't know.
I just needed to check in case there was like 3 other Blink-182 edits that were sort of similar.
There's not. But Sam, I gotta warn you.
Oh no.
There's like a million fucking covers.
So should we just? I mean, like all we look at. We showed deferential. I think respect to Mark that maybe he hasn't always got on this pod. We had a couple of like real fun diversions, of course, which we're known for.
And we had some extreme technical difficulties also.
Yeah, we had extreme technical difficulties.
I feel like my voice has also evolved a little bit because of my cold. Like my wife's been gone. I haven't really talked out loud at all today. And it's getting a lot like deeper and more like I have like morning voice right now.
Yeah, it's people are gonna be like, "Who's the new sexy co-host?"
Who's the new guy? Yeah.
And then you could like invent a whole new persona for who's running the Twitter. You'd be like, "It's me,
Sexy Josie."
So, Sexy Josie, what do you got in store for us in terms of covers?
Well, having said that, you're gonna get mad at me, but like Mark was saying earlier,
you know what? I think you're really like I'm not mad at you yet. Like the last time I was mad at you was the TV repair segment of 6-8.
That's true.
But I feel like this is like I think some couples shit is like you make me into the bad guy, Josiah. Like I want to be supportive. I want to be there for you. I like your hobbies.
Okay, that's fair. You know,
so don't start.
I'm bringing my previous hurt to the scenario here.
I understand, and some of that is on me, and I accept that. But I think for us to stay together for another,
I guess
112 episodes.
You know, I guess the other thing is that while I'm doing it, I'm also hoping that you'll get mad at me. So that's the other thing.
So you're kind of trying to poke the bear a little bit.
And why do you say 112? Isn't this number 40? Are you planning on not doing 3 of them?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I already did bail on 2 of them. So I suspect that over the next 2 years, it's highly likely that I might not appear in a few.
Damn. That's fun. Now I'm mad at you.
That's the thing, man. Just setting up conflict because that's what the people came here for. So, yes, I'm ready to be mad.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you will be mad because it's just really fun. I think you're going to get mad later. There's just so many. Let's just start plowing through them.
Okay, let's plow.
So because Mark said that the song is so easy to play, there is, thank God, a treasure trove of teen punk bands playing this fucking song. And it's so good. And now, this first one, I think they've been on the pod before because it's so familiar. They're called No Recess.
Yeah, we definitely have had No Recess on the pod before. I don't remember. Dude, again, this is like...
We've been doing this for so long, and it's just so stupid.
We talk so much, and stuff comes out of our mouths that is hilarious because we're so good at our jobs here.
And very earnest, also.
Extremely sincere all the time. And so stuff will come up like on the Twitter where like I don't remember the joke. Like
that's why I just retweet everything because I don't know what the fuck anyone's talking about.
You're like, what? Things are totally irrelevant to the pod. And so definitely this like No Recess falls into that realm of like I've heard those words come out.
They must have been on it at the start. Maybe they did Dump Weed, or maybe they were on Dysentery Gary. I'm not sure. But
okay.
It's so just the look of the video is so perfect.
Okay.
This was put up here 2013. They're in a garage. They've got a fridge in the garage. They've got dyed blonde hair. They're wearing Blink shirts, and then the kick drum says Recess with like the Ghostbusters no sign through it. It's so good.
Oh, dude, yeah, I remember these kids.
I love them. But this one is really great because, as with all great teen bands, there's so much bullshit before they get to the song.
Yeah, they're just clowning around.
So let's hear what they do at the start of their video. 2013, you clearly could have edited a video before you uploaded it, but here's what they did instead.
Yeah, take your chance. Yeah. So are we, after we do this? Yeah. Right, so I'm about to say, no, wait, hold on, I need to take this. If it's recording, you can use it. Yeah, you guys will have to skip past this part. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm just going to keep playing it in the background, but he's like, the drummer's like, I need to take a piss. And then he's like, yeah, you guys will just have to skip past this part. Like they're just stop the camera. He walked by the camera to go take a piss.
Yeah, and then the bass player seemingly like crushed like a can of Coke he was drinking, and then went to the fridge and got another can of Coke. But again, like the setting for this truly looks like a movie set where you're like, it's such a perfect.
It's like, yeah, it's too. You're like, there's no way that a teen band is this teen.
Yeah.
And then the blonde boy starts playing Purple Haze. But then what I really like about it is that when they actually play the song, it sounds like this. It's perfect. It's so good.
It's so good. And they're still going. Their most recent upload was 10 months ago. So I don't know that it's like the whole band or just the one dude, but like the primary Mr. Recess appears to still be active. So maybe because we've had the good fortune of actually getting in touch with some of the bands that we've been super kind about on this podcast in the past. So if you are friends with No Recess, or if you are No Recess, like please hit us up. You like, does this basement still exist? Like, could you shoot something? Can we like put in a request for an upcoming song?
Just,
like,
get at like we need to learn more about No Recess because I love them, and I want to know if they still are kind of like just as teenish.
Also, dude, their videos have mad views. The one that you sent me is like 13,000. They have a cover of Cherub Rock that is 107,000. They've got Say It Ain't So 103,000. Like Welcome to Paradise 76,000. Like these guys are YouTube stars, man. I
know, and I just found their Facebook group. They're from Florida. Yeah, I don't know. No Recess. It's great. People on their group are like, Justin Geelan, what kind of humbucker did you use in the bridge of your purple Strat? Like they're like,
dude, they're more popular than us. Like No Recess is way more popular than this podcast.
Yeah, so maybe they could give us a shout out.
That's what I'm hoping for. So please, get at us.
All right, let's move on. I can't really figure out what this band is called or what country it's in, but it's somewhere. It was uploaded in 2008 because this song goes through like the history of YouTube. I've had a very long day with this song once again. And this band is, I don't know what they're called, but let's maybe they're called CCVV, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I read that.
Or it says something in the...
Oh, yeah, Come Caso Velote Voi. So I guess that's the band.
Live at Liceo Mersali. I don't know. I can't figure out what country it is, but let's hear them, and then we'll talk about how cool they're dressed. I think this is a classic skate punk song, and that's why teens are so good at it.
Well, okay, get this, because while I was enjoying that insanely perfect cover, and in the video, the guitar player's mic keeps falling down and he keeps having to reach it up. Like, this is so good. The bass player is full ska season. He's got like a checkerboard hoodie
full
on.
Ska
and
season.
Vans, like, is living ska season.
And the drummer's wearing like a camp counselor, like Sigur Rós hat. I don't know what those hats are called.
It's extremely Sigur Rós. So just like this band is playing on like a raised wooden platform. It's kind of hard to figure out what it is. What it looks like is happening here is this band is playing at a high school. There's a Liceo Mercalli High School in Napoli, right? That's, Or not Napoli, Naples.
Naples. Okay, yeah. Because somebody said I didn't know Italians play punk rock too in the comment section. Very ignorant comment. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Honestly, that's not okay. But I'm pretty sure, so CCV is maybe what they have to go by at school, because if the description is true and Come casa volete voi is their name, it looks like that essentially translates into what the fuck you want.
That's so sick.
Isn't that sick? So this is like I'm so happy right now.
I love teens.
I just love this era, man. Like, this reminds me of, I was thinking like the first show that I went to that wasn't like at an arena or whatever was like a friend's older brothers battled the bands at the Cathedral in Toronto, which was part of this like horrible purple complex called the Big Bop that was like the greatest place in the world for all ages shows. And like
all of those things sound like they're from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. But like, I remember going to that show in a Blink shirt and walking in, and every band looked like this and every band sounded like this. And I just like felt so truly at home in that. And I like distinctly remember the feeling of like literally opening up the doors. It's very cinematic in my memory. And watching these bands cover it is like that sensation.
I know. I totally agree. So let's do a couple more teens before we get into some other shit. So this one is only from 2015, PAG drums and guitar. And this one, I feel like we had a similar one like this that I really related to, where it seems to be, in my mind at least, just two brothers jamming it out. Like it's just two brothers in their basement, in my imagination at least. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of loose, but still really sick, in my opinion. So let's hear them. I get chills. He does like a little grin at the other guy when he's doing the kicks. Like, it's just like, oh, I hope these guys, it looks like they still are uploading videos. Like, I hope that they got to like play in a band. Oh, it looks like they got into Father John Misty and shit. That's unfortunate.
No.
That's too bad.
You know what? Like, just never read about your heroes.
Sometimes you can't click the recent uploads. It's too heartbreaking.
No, especially if they've stayed active on YouTube. It's a tough environment for anyone.
But that was a genuinely sweet moment that I felt very. I am turning into you. I'm feeling all sorts of. I've got the feels, as they say.
They were going to say, as like you say, and accuse me of ever using the term feels, and I was going to be like, now I'm actually offended. This also like the No Recess is playing in a garage, which like that's not a scenario I can ever particularly relate to, but this one is like in the basement, like clearly in this suburban half-finished basement where, their parents have been kind enough to let them like make this hideous racket. And it just like, again, it makes me so nostalgic just looking at this.
I know. Me too. Totally. I can totally, like, we used to mostly jam in the attic bedroom where my brother Johnny, his room was there, and that's where the drums were. But we also, we jammed in the garage too. I don't know. I feel like I've jammed in all three, but you just are always in like some dumb room that's too hot.
Just jammed all over the place. Yeah, we were the furnace room, and so that room is like hotter than the rest of the house.
Yeah, totally. And also, I love that video. I loved because there was no bass, so there was so much empty space, and I totally remember jamming with my brother Johnny like that, where it's like we're both just imagining the missing parts at the same time.
Yeah, totally. And then you're doing things like capturing it. Like these kids have access to like, it sounds like the recording is even okay. Like I wonder if they have like a decent mic up or whatever. There's like a nice iMac look in the background there.
Yeah.
But, like, they're filming this on a decent camera. Like that impetus to record everything. Like when you leave, the jam space, quote unquote, like the attic bedroom, and you've someone's brought a 4-track or whatever, and it sounds like trash, and half the stuff that you're hearing is not there because it's like guitar leads or bass.
Yeah.
But it's like so sick to listen back to it. Like that's what these kids are getting to do right now.
Totally. And also these two kids especially, like, you can tell they have like chops and are confident. Like even the way that he's hitting, I feel like people talk about how power chords are so easy, but there's a way that you can hit them where you sound like a fucking rock star, and then there's a way that you can hit them where you just sound like you've just learned how to do it. And even, sorry, Mark, to say this now, but even when Mark was playing acoustic guitars, you're like, oh, he can barely play power
Absolutely.
chords.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, these kids have it. Like the drummer looks a little younger maybe than the guitar player, and he's like full grin. Mm-hmm. And he's got chops, man.
Yeah, I know. So let's. So here's the end of the teen section for now. This one's not so hot, but this band has a really, really good teen name. They're called Ninja Report.
Oh.
And this video is like some dad's DSLR set up at a pool party, so it's a very clear image of just like, I'm gonna say 7 or 8 of the most awkward boys, all in basketball shorts, just like calmly watching this band play the song. And it's so uncomfortable, and just like no one even really barely reacts to it.
What is this?
It's Ninja Report is what it is. But because we've sort of been doing the same thing, I skipped ahead to the bridge on this one, so we can hear Ninja Report's take on the bridge while these boys just don't even react to it at all. There's like an extra guitar adding some leads. I actually think it sounds good.
It sounds great, but I hope this song will be this video will be posted on the socials maybe, because it looks so cinematic in its
exactly.
Like it looks like a frame from the new Twin Peaks or something, right?
Yeah, it's like that's what I mean. It's
clean.
Some dad who definitely has like tutorial videos on how to get the most cinematic look on your Canon Rebel DSLR.
But because it's like so hauntingly lacking any human character, it's remarkably unsettling.
Exactly.
Like it really reminds me of David Lynch. Like I mean that not like it. I mean that so sincerely, and specifically the sort of like just like dull but beautiful, or not, like the way all the sort of like unsettling shots got framed in the Return.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. Or actually, it feels like it could be like one of those Cloverfield sequels too. Like it's just so still that something bad is about to happen. Yeah. Nothing is that still.
Is the pool covered up at this pool concert that they're playing?
It kind of seems like.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, how could you even watch music and be that motionless? I don't even understand how you could.
No, it's a remarkable achievement.
But that's a Ninja Report. I mean, what does Ninja Report mean also?
It's an extremely like that era where you're like, ninjas, like pirate report. I don't know, just noun shit.
So, unfortunately, we're going to have to look at some acoustic on this because there's just so much. Like this song, I don't know what it is because it does seem like a minor song, but there's so many covers. We have to look at some acoustic. So there is a very lush, beautiful Odie acoustic cover out there. You know that guy Odie acoustic?
Yeah, man.
But instead of playing that, we're going to play the outsider artist, Anthony J. Mitchell, that we previously played on a different episode. Remember, he did the Creep Radiohead cover.
Right.
Yeah, so let's hear his take on Don't Leave Me, because that's what I'm here for.
Don't leave me all alone. Just drop me off at home.
said, I'm not the one that she thinks about as she said, gotta stop being fun. Just don't bring her down. She said, don't let my future be the
I really like it.
I love it.
It kind of reminds me of Korn's MTV Unplugged.
It's I don't remember like on the other covers if he was doing that exact same like arbitrary switching of octaves.
He wasn't doing that, but he did sound like he was just reading the lyrics for the first time while he was singing it in a different one.
But that the arbitrary switching of octaves is such an unsettling sound because like when you try to sing something that is like super out of your register, and like I'll do this all the time because I always like overestimate like just how sick my pipes are, and so I'll try to hit some note, and you very quickly realize that you're not gonna like it's not happening, and then you just recover by immediately dropping an octave and just pretending that was sort of what you were you were trying to do the whole time. But it always happens in those transitional moments. That's usually like verse to chorus or whatever, right? Where you're trying to like.
But he was doing it in a way that it sounded like it was very controlled.
Yeah, but like so fully at random. Like it wasn't initially. I thought it was a verse chorus thing, and then I realized it was beyond or beyond A-B sort of rhyme scheme. Anyway, I loved it.
So we're sort of into the avant-garde section now of my notes. This one, unfortunately, is more visual than it is anything, but I cannot even believe the look of this. Like this video looks like one of those memes that's been shared so many times that it has like digital artifacting on it. I just
can't.
Like
the Shack eyes or something. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, like so. Okay, we can play it, but it's more important to talk about it. But let's play it first, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. So this is Jose Mata, and it has 68 views, and it was uploaded in 2012. Again, this is a video that, like, at first I would think I would want to make fun of it, but I just love it. It's just like some sort of weird, like, timestamp of what it's like to be a punk kid.
Well,
to be someone who likes punk.
It's a pixelated meme version of a Wes Anderson movie about being a punk.
Yeah.
Like his shirt is this that light blue that sort of only slightly pops off the slightly lighter blue wall, and then there's the rotating fan that's connected to a wall, but the wall is just out of frame, so there's just this disembodied fan swinging in the corner.
Yeah. And then there's another, I guess, air conditioner, but it looks like a microwave in the wall. And then he has like skate stickers all over his guitar, but everything is so digitally artifacted. And I don't think in 2012 videos looked this bad. I don't think videos have ever looked this bad.
I mean, maybe like a flip phone video, like that's the only thing that would explain this.
Or like some sort of like art project, like a art college group show. They would do films like this.
You feel like this is just like too punk, like just too good to be pure?
I know, I love it. I think it's so good. And I also love the teen guitar cover method of just starting the song with not enough time, so you have to miss the first couple bars and then you just come in, and then the guitar is always inevitably out of tune and like has the worst tone ever. I just love it.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you.
Like, these people are they're doing this, and it sounds like shit, and they're imagining that they're on stage at Daytona Beach, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you said it yourself, man. You know, your brain just fills in those pieces for you. Like, when you and your brother jam, like, you hear the bass because you just, like, know how it's all supposed to go, and that's kind of the point.
Totally. All right, well, this one is... I wrote down that it's also avant-garde, but mostly because of how bad it is. Like, this one is just, like, crazy bad. But maybe in a good way. We'll see. So Jake305 Super uploaded this in 2013 and has not broken 150 views yet. So let's hear what he did.
So I have a few thoughts, and I'll start with this. You ever like have that moment when you kind of first go back to a record you loved when you were like younger and didn't really understand music, hadn't played music before? Doing a podcast where you cover every Blink-182 song would be a really efficient way of doing this. But, you hear things you never heard before. You're like, oh, I didn't understand what a bass even was. And now I can hear the bass. And I'm like, your mind kind of is blown because you're like, I'm experiencing this on a whole other level than I used to because I like get it a little bit. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I wonder, I'm like, okay, so what is it like? That's a privilege that I've had like a musical education and I'm able to like enjoy music, whatever. I'm like, if you don't have
dance
that
education,
and
Harvard Online,
but then I think about like when I'm at a wedding with my dad and I watch him try to dance to a song and I realize like not only is he not able to separate like a guitar and a bass, just like tonally, like he can't hear a beat, like he doesn't hear any of it,
right? And that's what's so interesting about that, which I actually do like, even though it's terrible, because it's like somebody who doesn't understand musical language still recognizing that there's some sort of like timing thing with the riff that we were talking about,
but not understanding what it is.
He doesn't understand how to do it, but he's like mimicking it in this like alien way that becomes interesting again.
Yeah, like all of that like sort of like horribly pretentious lead up was not to say that I didn't like it, but it had that character to it where I was like, I don't think this person sort of fundamentally understands the song, like how it's supposed to go.
What it reminds me of is listening to IDM in high school, like intelligent dance music, like Aphex Twin and all that shit. Because I remember there was these like stoner kids that I knew would always talk about how crazy this one, I think it was Square Pusher song was, because he dropped a ping pong ball and then sampled the rhythm, like the tempo of the ball bouncing, so it got quicker and quicker as the ball got closer to the ground, and then built a song around that like random tempo. And it reminded me of that. Like it's like just this weird fucked up tempo that you can still kind of follow, and that makes it more engaging. And also he's pretty good at singing, so that added some strangeness to it, I guess.
Exactly. If it was like just like an atonal mess, I'd be like, oh, it's sweet. But instead, it like they're sort of like functionally like you can form the chords. The notes sound right coming out of his mouth. Like there's like a nice quality to the voice. Enchanting, man.
So okay, one more of this little section. Another sort of awkward bedroom boy. This guy really reminded me a lot. Especially how he holds his guitar. He reminds me a lot of Jason Segel in Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, dude.
So this is Toonstruck 333. He uploaded this in 2008, and it has 314 views, 0 comments, 3 thumbs up, 3 thumbs down. I'm going to give him a thumbs up right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's hear what Toonstruck 333 did. I'm being like weirdly moved by all of these.
I was like, what's happening, man? Like, I know I didn't expect to go there on this one, but like it had the same effect. Also, the fact that you said he looks like Jason Segel, specifically like moves like Jason Segel in Freaks and Geeks, specifically like
absolutely right. And also
sort of discomfort with this new body, but like just sweetness. Oh my God.
And I feel like Jason Segel also, when he would sing songs on that show, would always sing them like in the wrong key or the wrong octave.
Yeah, totally.
It's totally like so earnest and shitty. And also, did he put, I don't know if you noticed, did he put some sort of old-timey filter on this video? It looks like there's like old-timey film artifacting happening along with the shitty webcam.
Oh, I love it. It's funny, yeah, like us being so earnest about the song initially, but now every one of these covers, and you're right, this absolutely has old-timey film, like iMovie filter on it. It's because, like, of what we were saying off the top, like this song kind of exemplifies everything that we clearly like not only like loved about this band, but like they got us into the band and got us into like what I like about this song is what I like about everything that I fell in love with at this time, right?
Yeah, and I think it's sort of like, well, I don't know a good example. It's almost like it feels like a rock standard. It feels like Louie Louie or something. It's like kind of hard to fuck up, and the more that you play it badly, the more charming it is.
Yeah. I think we may have unlocked a secret to this song for sure. This is absolutely not like 90s, 2000s pop punk Louie Louie.
Yeah. But here's a cover that I do really hate, and we'll see what you think. This is Ryan Kennedy did this in 2015. It's my electronic acoustic version of Don't Leave Me. So there's like the first half of it is like just kind of like there's no drums, but I skipped ahead to right where the drums come in. So
good.
Yeah, is it? We'll see.
I'll listen up, pretend to care, go on ahead, I'll meet you there. And she said that I'm not the one, and when she thinks about it, she said it's hard being fun. I just bring her down and said don't let your future be destroyed by my past. She said don't let my door hit your ass.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a song that would play like right at the end of the final act of like a network a cop firefighter show,
right?
Where everyone's personal life is kind of falling apart. So like the captain's wife has left him, and the young gun, like her fiance, just was in a car accident because he's an alcoholic, and it was drunk driving. And you're seeing this just montage of them kind of coming home from their work where they deal with human tragedy to the personal tragedy of their own lives. And you're like, I don't hate this, but I don't like it. I need to Shazam it and figure out who it is. And it's like, oh, this is what Imagine Dragons sounds like.
Well,
and then you never think about Imagine Dragons again.
It very much sounded like Imagine Dragons to me.
Yeah.
But more of like a pickup artist form version of Imagine Dragons.
And
it definitely, you're
Return
right.
of the Kings, Imagine Dragons.
That's a good point. It does sound like those horrible, like every TV show and movie has like a dramatic cover of a pop song now. And that trend is not dying. It won't die.
There's, I think, a Kushbaum tweet that was like talking about trailers and always like slow choral versions of it, and being really excited to eventually see a trailer for a movie that's just the impression that I get. And I've been obsessed with that idea for a long time. Like, I would love to hear like a Scala version of the impression that I get over the next. Oh
yeah,
right.
I mean,
so good.
Oh, that song is so perfect.
I don't know, dude. It's a very perfect song.
But this song, I think, might be perfect, too, but that just didn't work at all. It just really bummed me out.
Yeah. I hate that person.
Well, look at this person's SoundCloud image, because I can't tell if this is a troll or not. The name is Steve Sushimi, and they've named this the T-Swizzle Fails version of Don't Leave Me, and their SoundCloud picture is like Miley Cyrus touching herself on stage. From the provocative Miley Cyrus era, and that
was an era.
This is only 30 seconds long, so I'll play the whole thing. But I can't tell if it's a joke or not.
Okay.
Don't leave me all alone. Just drop me off at home and I'll be fine.
And that's it.
I mean,
was it like some sort of like Flaming Lips ass bullshit?
That definitely
some exhausting Wayne Coyne just makes me want to go hide under the covers for a while. Bullshit.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the like I was expecting maybe like a full kind of like Sound Clown version of it. And clicking through to Steve Sushimi's profile, I mean, I suspect that's maybe where that's coming from with such songs as Third Eye Blind, Jumper, Sting Sucked My Cock Edition. But I don't know. I actually didn't hate that, which it makes me feel weird. I'm worried that I'm just like falling apart mentally and just have lost all my critical faculties.
It could have been a lot worse, for sure. I don't know. Let's move on.
Okay.
I got 3 left. We're gonna revisit. First, we're gonna revisit like Cousins Dangerous.
Oh. I would, after that episode, I bought that album. Like
I know.
I listened to that album. I think it is fucking wicked.
Yeah, and this is a particularly good one, so I'm gonna let it play out for a little while.
Sick.
So this is for those who don't listen to every episode of this pod because they're selfish. This is Tim Thornton of Tiger Village, and this project is named after that Cousins movie from Arrested Development. And he did a full cover of Enema of the State. So every single song, there's one of these versions.
And they're honestly all so good. God damn, it's so good. It transcends chiptune, right? Like it could just be like smarmy or overly cute, and instead it sort of rides this perfect line between that like just like gut punch of nostalgia that is any kind of like 8-bit thing, but doesn't go quite for the like full corn dog vibes of chiptune, and instead has like a little bit of a glitchy edge to it.
Well, I think the problem with chiptune is that it was really fun at first, but now there's just like an 8-bit cover of everything, and it's as lazy as just like plugging a MIDI thing in and change. Like it just, even if it is hard to make, I don't really know, but it just feels. I like that this is doing something with that palette instead of just stopping at a tribute to video games or whatever.
Totally, it still feels like it has human edges to it, and like I really just like appreciate that sort of like tiny bit of soul that kind of comes through.
Totally. Okay, this one I think I'm really hoping that you will actually hate because I really do.
I don't know, man. I'm in a good spot. Like
I know, and I will. Yeah, well, this is Devin Baldwin, produced by Christoph Anderson.
I love his production work.
Look at the numbers on SoundCloud here. Like this is crazy. 600,000 plays. So
Yo, give us a shout out, Devin.
Yeah. Although I don't like your music at all, but yeah, I think this is almost worse. So there are a million like dashboard style acoustic covers. I just played the cool esoteric ones instead because we're a cool pod.
Yeah, of course.
But this I think is almost worse than doing a dashboard style version of the song.
What's worse than dashboard?
Let's hear.
Just drop me off at home. I'll be fine. It's not the first, just like last time, but a little worse. And she said that I'm not the one that she thinks about it. She said it'd stop being fun. I just bring her down. I said don't let your future be destroyed by my past. She said don't let my door hit your ass. One more chance, I'll try this time. I'll give you.
Dude, so good. No. Yeah, it's great.
I don't know why it just bugs me so much. I can't quite put my finger on it.
It's an extra calculated, elevator soulless version of a postal service.
Yeah, like this is what music is now. This is every floppy beanie fucking condo dwelling bean roasting, crafty sipping, spin class. Like it's everything.
But I get it, but the song still fucks. Like under all of that, it's just in there. Fucking Josiah.
I guess I just can't handle also the sort of like pseudo shy, unconfident like coffee shop vocals that are always on these songs. And I know I'm a hypocrite because I love the Chainsmokers, but the Chainsmokers are also hilarious at the same time. So that's why I love them. But even the fact that the production is so good too, but then it sort of has this like meekness to it. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I am genuinely perplexed given all of the factors that you just outlined, why the fuck this is a Don't Leave Me cover. Like, effort has gone into this, and for all intents and purposes, like, you could take what you've built there generally, like that kind of like, you know, Starbucks soca beat.
Yeah.
And you could do anything on top of
exactly.
it. And instead you're covering the second song from Enema of the State.
Which, like, exactly. And I think that's the thing is, like, the charm of this song is that it's sort of amateurish or something. Like, it's just the charm of it is that it's not fussed over at all, and that's why it sounds better when Jason Segel from Freaks and Geeks is playing it. To me,
well, totally. I mean, and look, this is like when we were actually hours ago listening to Blink cover it or Tom cover it. Jesus Christ, that's in my mind. The song belongs to Devin Baldwin now. You know what we both sort of like were so immediately like and very earnestly emotionally drawn to was like the sort of like razor thin line between tight and off the fucking rails of that Daytona Beach performance. And this is so completely the opposite of that I can appreciate you having that sort of knee jerk response to it. But to me, it's just like, I think this song is so good on a melodic level that, again, I think Blink arranged it in the most perfect way. But it's still just like a really transcendent pop song. And you plunk it into this and like, I don't really want to listen to it again. But while it was happening, I was like, just thinking how blessed I am.
The problem with, or maybe not even a problem, but the way that I view music at this point in my life is so much about context that I just can't I can't just listen to something that is well done because it doesn't matter to me if there's something wrong with the context, I'll be distracted by that the whole time.
Well, you want to talk about distractions. I made the mistake of scrolling down into the comments on SoundCloud where this track was uploaded to, and I regret to inform you, but we've been, I've got to read this. What it in fact says is, don't read this. You'll be kissed on the nearest possible Friday by the love of your life. Tomorrow will be the best day of your life. Now you've started reading this. Don't stop. This is so freaky. But if you read this and ignore it, then you will have bad luck. Put this on 15 songs in 144 minutes. When you are done, press space bar and your crush's name will appear in big letters on the screen. So this is freaky. It actually works.
And that comment was from someone named Midget Face. Please say Little Person Face next time you do that.
Yeah. So I just want to let everyone. It seemed unfair once I had seen it to not pass on this valuable
I guess that's what we
hack.
got to do when we're done. We should. You know what we should do is we should go back through all of the videos that we've played and leave this as a comment.
Post this as a comment.
If you're listening and you want to do that, you fucking nerds, do that.
Yeah. All right, I loved it, man. So,
all right. You know what?
I can't imagine anything, killing my mood right now.
The last one is absolutely not going to kill your mood. I just want to say, like, we've been playing a lot of funny stuff lately, a lot of fun stuff, but I haven't really been, like, brought to a next level of being moved in a while, you know?
Okay.
And so I was digging real hard because I could tell there's lots of stuff, and I found something that just has made me happy all day. And maybe that's why I've been happy this whole episode.
That's it. So that at least partially explains it.
So this has 126 views, which is to say that hopefully we'll have a lot more after this.
Get that Blink 155 bump.
This is, I want to say, a rapper named Sasuke Fame. And his username on YouTube is Louis V. This was uploaded in 2012. And I'm just going to play it. I'm going to play a bunch of it, and then we'll talk, and then I'm going to skip ahead to the end. So this is Sasuke Fame.
I ride for my niggas, dog. Stay high with my niggas. I'm telling you how to say the script. My man, you gangster? What you doing? Wait. Hey, do it again! Do it again! Are you up?
Don't leave me all alone. Just drop me off at home. I'll be fine. It's not the first, just like last time, but a little worse. And she said that I'm not the one that she thinks about it. She said it's not being fun. I just break it down. I said don't let your future be destroyed by my past. She said don't let my door hit your ass.
So it's like they do a backflip off of like a really shitty, almost like a barn garage door, and then he kicks into this music video that he shot that looks like a little B video, like a homemade rap video, but it's just him and his friend with a guitar singing into the camera, humping a teddy bear, etc. I'm already like on such a high from it. Now let me just play you the end and then we'll talk about it. So this is after the song is done.
Okay, you got to send this to me because like I'm not looking at this.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I thought I did.
No, that's fine. But like,
I didn't hit enter. Okay.
You were just too excited, and I appreciate
was too
that.
excited. Okay, well, let's hear the end, and you can just get caught up on what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
It was good. I just want to say that. I just want to say that take two. Huh? All right. Yeah. All right. Look. Listen. Take notes. Please don't fucking sue me. Song is by Mark, Tom, and Travis, and the group called Blink-182. Please don't fucking sue me, Mark, Tom, or Travis, or the people that made or what I'm looking for, the people that did the song or whatever, the company, the record label. Yeah. Please don't fucking sue me. I'm not making no money off this shit. It's just for promotional use. That's all I'm using it for. Please don't fucking sue me, goddamn. Please don't fucking sue me. Please don't fucking sue me. Just give me a message and I'll take it down first. Please, damn. All right, cool. One last thing. I want to give a shout out to my man Louis Cash out there in Louisiana doing his thing right now. Look him up on YouTube. Type in Louis Cash and see behind the scenes footage of his new video called My Life. Check it out. Shit go hard. Yeah, all day, every day. Sasuke, GMP. I'm out.
It's so good.
Should we like send this to my bosses?
Get him sued.
So
I listened to some of his other songs and he like straight up like sounds like Soulja Boy basically.
Really?
Yeah, like he like makes like sick raps, although he hasn't uploaded in a long time. But like, yeah, let me play a bit of his music. Sorry, I want to play so much stuff so we can talk about it because you need to catch up on everything.
Yeah, okay, man. I'm ready.
Let's hear him rap a little bit. I love him. He's so like, I just think he's so cool. I love that he did that video. It's so awesome.
Well, the video is like an amazing mash of. So you described kind of the opening before the song kicks in of just doing kickflips off the side of the house, and then when the song starts, all of a sudden it's nighttime and they're in a backyard just being lit by like probably a car. It looks like.
Yeah.
And like there's is that a real guitar? Or is that just like a rock band guitar? Or whatever?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
And just like clowning in front of a camera, but then randomly, like as the video plays, it occasionally cuts to this sort of higher up shot of him like pretending to shred, and it's got like a bunch of iMovie effects on it, and it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, like I think this sort of like marriage of, because this is from 2012, and I think this sort of like pop punk aesthetics mixed with like fucked up effects, and he's wearing a shirt that says The Birthday Massacre on it. Is that a horror movie or is that like an emo band? I don't know. But there's like all this like playfulness and playing with pop punk, and I think playing with like either irony or like a post-ironic appreciation of something old is very contemporary. Absolutely. Like everything about this could be from 2018.
Yeah, I mean, also, so like, as I looked this up too, because I was like, what is the if it is the Birthday Massacre? They're actually from London, Ontario, and they're like a goth band that's on the same label as KMFDM.
Amazing.
Which like just further deepens like the idea that this dude is also potentially wearing like a London goth rock band shirt. Like just repping the industrial end of things.
Like in 2018, all of this stuff is not new. Like marrying Southern rap with pop punk and Warped Tour aesthetic. Like that's very hip right now. But it's interesting to see someone this ahead of his time.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
because he looks pretty young, and I think that's it. It's like the reason that became such a thing is because there were kids that grew up with like those as like not competing musical interests you could have. Whereas like I felt like when I was younger, until like my tastes matured when I was in like high school or whatever, it felt like you kind of like had to like one thing or another thing, and you were so like put into kind of like tribes based on those like initial sort of developments of personal taste, whereas like these kids just didn't grow up with that, and so there's no line between Soulja Boy and Blink-182.
Yeah, it rules. Oh, okay,
it
so
rules, dude.
I was worried that he was gone, and then I clicked through, and on Spotify he has a song from last year called Second Coming. So there's like a 5-year gap of him being gone, and then now he's back with a song called Second Coming.
Did you manage to like close the circle here on this being a Christian pop punk podcast?
No, but why? Are you on his SoundCloud?
No, it's just, I
on
mean,
his
the Second Coming is a...
Well, on his SoundCloud, there's a song called It's Gone, and there's a man praying before Jesus.
Oh my God, dude.
But then the caption of that song is, when everything breaks down, all you have left is your money, right? So I don't know. But let's hear if it'll play. I don't know if I have Spotify, but let's try to play Second Coming.
Okay.
Oh no, see me here like Gyra, running. I'm so sick of running. Leader, help me. I don't know the problem. Oh no, Lord, is this the end of all? Lord, I don't wanna go now. Leave it. I don't really mean it. Precious.
Ah, so Sasuke Fame has really matured his sound quite a bit.
Yeah, I gotta say, if I can offer just like one, sort of like demo listening session critique, is that intro goes on long enough that it started to feel like we had been fooled.
Yeah, it's like maybe I have Spotify. It only plays the kick. I don't know.
Yeah, it just isolates tracks. Like, sorry, man, that's the free tier. You get one channel. I don't know what to tell you.
But no, Sasuke Fame. Like, let's all show him some love online because he rules.
Yeah, no, I love that, man.
He really did. Like, maybe this is a good segue into understanding the crossover. Like, maybe Travis Barker's flirtations with rap have also helped bridge these gaps over the years.
I think for sure, like for kids maybe coming from like the punk side of it initially, it was like a good gateway. I'm sure. There's no way it wasn't.
Anyways, that's the covers.
Hell yeah, man! So what are your final thoughts on Don't Leave Me?
It's really good. It's put me in such a good mood. I can't even hate anything anymore.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I'm sure
scary.
you'll find a way to hate again, Josiah.
I hope so. Maybe it's just because I have a cold.
Yeah, that's it. You're emotionally vulnerable right now.
It's such a good song, though. It's like just like it's so good that I can understand why Mark did what he did with California. But it's just you can't go back to that well anymore.
Yeah, totally.
It's like it's the result of a well-oiled machine being at its peak, but eventually you have to work towards that.
And also maybe like not realizing it because it comes from like not thinking about it too much. And like at some point you're like, oh my God, I'm really good at doing this thing. How do I replicate that thing? And this is just like right before that is happening, I guess. And that's really, it's neat to be able to look back and like mark that time. Mark. I guess I just wanted to say that earlier today, in one of my rare moments of being, online and engaging, a friend of the pod, Asinine Radio, said that they were listening to the Down episode, and that apparently I said that the cover section is my favorite part of the pod, and obviously, that's changed a lot in the interview.
No, you said it was your not least favorite or favorite.
Apparently, and again, I haven't listened to the Down episode since we said it.
And that person said they were re-listening to it, not listening.
Right, sorry. Re-listening. Got to the Down episode.
Good Lord.
And that basically saying things have changed a lot because in that episode I said the covers were my favorite part. And I got to say, I was not expecting to just be so enchanted and brought back to like a very specific nostalgic place in my heart by talking about the song and then digging into those covers, because they all had that kernel of like, this is what made me love the song is clearly what made those people love the song, and you can see that, and it becomes part of this like weird shared experience of mass culture, and like, isn't that the best?
God, it's so earnest.
I know, dude. This is awful. Anyway, so Mark, if you're still listening, this is how this podcast has always been.
Yeah.
We
So
love you.
When you visit me in my dreams tonight, let's have a different experience. Maybe let's experiment a little with each other.
Oh, this is exciting. So, best of luck to you and Mark tonight, Josiah.
And we have a guest.
Yeah, I was like leaving the pause there. Okay, sick.
Gary Pascal is from Calgary originally, unfortunately, but he lives in Chicago now, and he's a comedian. He has a pod as well. But he recently did a one-man show all about Enema of the State. So he did a different sketch about each song from Enema of the State.
We actually stole the idea for this podcast from that show.
Yeah, because this is also a sketch comedy show.
It is, yeah. We have our little characters that we play.
Yeah, so he'll tell us about the sketches, and then he's going to let us hear one of them on
yes.
pod.
Don't leave me all alone. Just drop me off at home.
So, Gary Pascal, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I live in Chicago. I'm a comedian and improviser, and then that's about it, I guess. I don't know. There's not a whole lot to it, I do weird dick jokes at night.
I mean, that's perfect. Yeah. Who doesn't? That's really our demographic, I think, the after hours dick joke crowd.
Oh, perfect.
The reason we're talking to you today is because you did, I guess, a one-man show or something, but you literally turned Enema of the State into like a full-on. Is it a one-man show? Is that what you call it? I don't know the term.
It's truly the most watchable art form is the one-man show. But that's kind of, I had always wanted to do, I'd always had this idea of doing a sketch show where each sketch was inspired some way by one song from Enema of the State.
And why? Well, so first of all, why Enema of the State? Why not like Dude Ranch or something else?
I think it was partly because just with my age and like coming of age, that was the album that really was that sort of like junior high school like formative time period for me. And I think, and like I've talked to a couple of buddies since I did this show about the album, and as soon as I did this show, everybody kind of comes out of the woodwork with their own story about Enema of the State and how much like it impacted their lives.
Right.
And I was talking to this guy, my friend Zach, and he's like, yeah, it's really like this kind of concept album about like this kind of coming of age of this person. And to be fair, he had a lot of other hoity-toity fucking ideas about this album. So.
Oh, really? I mean, that's what we're all about on here. I'd love to hear some hoity-toity ideas.
Yeah, we were talking about this, like the album ends with Anthem, and it's kind of, it's like, it was really cool to see that album kind of end with this, like that angst and this like, fuck everybody, and then Take Off Your Pants and Jacket starts with Anthem Part 2, and it's like, oh, actually, like, take some, agency in your own life. And And it's like, it was like, this is kind of how I'm trying to, like, it really resonated with the way that I was trying to figure out my life and growing a bit, but also still mostly a dipshit.
Right. I mean, I think truly nothing speaks to the white suburban male experience, especially of this era, quite like this music.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely my Jesus in a way.
So, can you remind me what your show is called again?
The show is called Aliens Exist, an exploration of Blink-182's Enema of the State, the most influential album of our time.
Right. Perfect title. And how was the show received, and do you plan to do it again, or?
It went really well. I posted in the like Blink-182 subreddit just kind of offhand. I was like, hey, I don't know if this is allowed, but I have this show, and like a bunch of people came out to the show. It was great. So I had a bunch of like Blink-182 fans there, and then you know, a lot of the comedy community really enjoyed it, and like a lot of my you know, comedian friends all kind of had their stories about, you know, growing up with that album and like what certain songs meant for them. So it went really well.
It sort of is like a secret, like silent majority that no one has wanted to admit for the last few years. It feels like how important Blink-182 was to them. Yeah,
and that was part of the reason why like I did a Blink-182 album versus any other. I mean, there's all sorts of, you know, important formative albums that that have happened that have all sorts of cultural significance. But I feel like, especially with comedy, where it's like so much of it is kind of like either pointing out meaning or absurdity in things that people take for granted. Like I found a lot to mine in like, there's a lot more to think about in Enema of the State than, you know, people just kind of take on face value.
Yeah, for sure. Well, along those lines, is it okay if we actually talk about the sketches, or is it
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool, because you've sent me these notes that I find really interesting. So, so first off is Dumpweed, that was our episode 1. And last week, we also interviewed this very controversial Blink-182 figure, Leo Diho, who is a Tom DeLonge impersonator, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, you might want to look up his videos, or you might not, because he also he has a tendency to use racial slurs in his lyrics. He's from Germany, and I think it hasn't really translated just how upsetting it is to do that to him, maybe.
Yeah.
But he also said that Dumpweed was the first cover he ever did. So it's really been on all of our minds lately, Dumpweed, Leo Diho. And then that's why it really spoke to me that the concept of your Dumpweed sketch is an obnoxious white nationalist complaining about the plight of the white man.
Yeah, I had, and I've been kind of thinking about doing this show for a little while. So I was writing sketches here and there, and I wrote this sketch kind of around the time of the Charlottesville protests, with the like white nationalists there.
Yeah,
and yeah, it was just like really strange. Like the song really spoke to me in this way of like it's this guy who sort of like, you know, has his own view on the world and doesn't really understand why other people don't like see it exactly his way, and like tried to frame it of like the white nationalists are afraid of, you know, their power being taken away, and tried to like do a metaphor to that as he's telling this story about how he was the first kid to have an N64 in his neighborhood, and then all of a sudden these like minority kids got N64s and he wasn't special anymore.
Right. Okay. I mean, I also think it's perfect for this song because the lyrics of this song are so entitled. Like, we always come back to the line, "I need a girl that I can train," which was aged so badly.
Yeah, that one's it's interesting because it's like it feels a little like that thing of like admitting something that you shouldn't admit, but that like people feel that it's like, oh, you know, it would be so great if I was just in control of everything in my life.
Right.
But it's like, that's not how people work.
Totally. So let's move on to Don't Leave Me, which is the episode obviously we're on right now, and we're going to play the audio of this one if that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I'll put it at the end of our interview so that we don't ruin this wonderful flow that we have going on.
Sure, yeah.
Do you want to explain how this one relates to the song?
So the thing that really...
I guess I'll read your blurb first so that I forget that no one else is on my laptop right now. The creator of Fox's Prison Break desperately tries to keep the show on air by pitching 9 more seasons.
Yeah, so the things that really stuck out to me was like the lyrics. She said it stopped being fun. I just bring her down. I said, don't let your future be destroyed by my past. She said, don't let my door hit your ass. And Prison Break was this show that I really loved the first season of. Like, I thought it was really well written and suspenseful and cool and well done. And then they broke out of prison at the end of that season. And then they're like, oh, shit, now what do we do with this show? So they kept just getting thrown into different prisons and then breaking out of them. And it got really boring and annoying really fast. So I was just like pitching like every season they get thrown into a prison in a different way. And then like one season they break out of prison, but everyone else on the planet is in prison. So
I guess, the don't let the door hit your ass makes me think of a pitch meeting for sure, like some Hollywood fat cat.
Oh, yeah. That's, trying to do comedy, it's a whole lot of meetings just like that. It's like, great, okay. You guys don't like dick jokes? But it's all I have.
So aliens exist. I would have, since it's the title of your show, you would have been on that episode, but we're just holding up our prayers to the universe that we'll get Tom DeLonge for that one day.
As you should.
Yeah. So, but this one seems to be the most directly Blink related so far. The VP of operations for Tom DeLonge's To the Stars gives a presentation to a UFO conference, and also his son is missing.
Yeah. So this one was pretty just directly like. I mean, there's some from the song, but mostly as I started like really looking into Tom DeLonge and watching some of his To the Stars videos and stuff, which are wild.
I believe it.
It's I want so badly to believe. So it was based off of his group, and I just thought it would be fun to have this guy who works for the company who's like giving a presentation that's like, yeah, we really are looking for aliens, but also his son has been missing. So it's like an exploration of the stars. And also, has anyone seen my son? And he just keeps trying to
putting more effort into finding aliens than finding his own child.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, Going Away to College. This is the first one you sent me, and I'm like, I don't see the connection with the song because it's
totally
you did an unboxing video of your grandfather's ashes.
Yeah. So, and this was one sort of similarly. I've like been kicked around this idea for this show, and the thing that like really reminded me of when I listened to this song was like when I was graduating high school, about to start college, was like right around when my grandpa died. And some of the things like, put blankets on the bed, I won't turn out the light, and then like going to visit my grandpa when he's sick. And I remember like pretty well, like right before he died and he was sick. But I remember vividly the funeral and how strange it was to basically have this family reunion where everyone is like right before the funeral. Like, we haven't seen these people in years. We're in fucking middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan. It's the middle of winter. It's just so bleak. And everyone is laughing and catching up. And like, I haven't laughed so hard in such a long time. And then we wake up the next morning and have the saddest thing ever.
Right.
And go, like bury my grandpa's urn in the fucking frozen ground as it's snowing in the middle of fucking Weyburn, Saskatchewan. And then we go out to dinner. We're all laugh again. It was so strange to me. I had so I'd been thinking about that idea, and then I saw, like I started seeing like that, like the unboxing video thing become like a, kind of a what is a meme or like, thing that people would do on YouTube. And I was like, this is silly and I should try to make fun of it some way.
Right.
And yeah, it just like really kind of connected with me of like this, you know, kind of sweet, like put blankets on the bed, but also it's just this like, you know, this rock and roll song in the middle of an album about trying to get laid.
Well, I like how the sketches are not so literal, and it seems more like you've let them just prompt your subconscious or something.
Yeah, and that's kind of, so I performed the show at IO Theater in Chicago, and their whole kind of approach to improv is like you get a suggestion at the beginning of the show, and then you'll do like a 30-minute show. And their whole mantra when you start like taking classes and performing there is like, you know, the suggestion is just a suggestion, and then you take it from there and make the show what you want it to be. And so I was like, I don't really want to do like a direct, like just recreation of the song. I'd rather like do a sketch about what it made me think about or feel. So
cool. Yeah, sweet. Well, What's My Age Again? I love this write-up. So this is a character based off of a college roommate who only knew one song on guitar, What's My Age Again, and would taunt people during beer pong by pulling one testicle up over his waistband in a move he called the quail breast.
This is easily the worst human being I've ever met in my life. It like the first time I saw it, I was so taken aback. It was like we're in the middle of a crowded living room. There's like 20 people, and like he's playing against his girlfriend, and like she makes a shot and he misses, and she says sort of like a you know, busting his balls type of line, and then he really busts his balls by pulling one testicle over his waistband and shaking it at her. And she was mortified, and we were all like, what the fuck is this?
A quail breast is such a disgusting term.
I hate it.
So like, how do you act out this sketch? Like, do you pull your testicle out in front of the crowd?
So what I did was I kind of placed it. It's a guy on a date with his girlfriend at like a TGI Fridays, and
classy.
And she says something snide to him, so he pulls out his testicle, which for me was a balloon filled with a hard-boiled egg. And then as I kept talking, I started like feeling a weird pain, and then tried to put it away. And then the balloon was attached to a CO2 cartridge, so it turned that, and then the testicle would inflate and explode.
Perfect.
And then I would scream and try to put my ball sack back together. Really smart comedy.
Yeah, I love it. It's very Mark Twain or something.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So Dysentery Gary, this before I read your thing, I just want you to know, in our Dysentery Gary episode, I opened up about a time that I shat my pants. And I described it as, it was sort of like a diarrhea thing while I was running, and I described it as if I was instantly wearing long johns. So that has become sort of like a phrase that all of our listeners use, and often on our Twitter, people tell me to go shit my pants. So I think this one really speaks to me. So Dysentery Gary was a beat poem about the 3 most major times in my life that I've shit myself.
Yeah, I need to include the part most major, because it's not just 3 times.
Right. I appreciate that honesty, because, you know,
yeah.
Like, are you talking about like post-puberty, at least?
So the first one is when I was 6 and I shit my pants twice in one day.
Amazing.
2 in 1. It was literally like I was playing outside. I thought I was going to fart, and just nope. It was filled my pants. Went inside. My mom cleaned me up, changed out the Spider-Man underwear for Superman underwear. Went outside and thought I was going to fart, and I was like, surely this time is a fart. And nope, just shit my pants again, like 30 minutes later.
Amazing. And what are the other 2 times, just real quick?
The second time was in 7th grade, middle of a math test. I was going to sneeze, trying to hold it, sneezed, and then immediately shit my pants.
At school?
Yeah.
That's like, that, did you hide it? That seems like it would earn you a lifelong nickname or something.
This was right around at the time that this album came out, and it absolutely did.
Oh my god,
it's pretty rough.
Amazing. They almost could have I wish you would reveal that Tom DeLonge actually knew you at this time and named the song after you.
People have told me now. My writing partner told me that he thinks that I have Crohn's disease because I have to shit so much and have emergencies. And I'm like, I don't. I'm probably lactose intolerant, but I like cheese.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand. So what's the third one? I mean, this is really important content.
Yeah. Third one is age 24, and this one is not quite shitting my pants, but what happened was I had to shit really bad. I was coming home from work. I got off the bus. I'm making a beeline, glide running home. I get inside. We have one bathroom, and my roommate's already in there, and he's neck deep in his own nightmare. So I panic and I grab a grocery bag from under the sink. I go out into the back alley, and I shit in the bag. The line from the beat poem that I that's maybe my favorite line.
Yeah, while you're talking, I forgot that this is a beat poem. How you deliver this?
This is. I'll read you the beat poem. Is I grab a plastic bag from under the sink. I run out in the back alley, unbuckle, unzip, floodgates. It hits the bag. It hits the bottom of the bag like hail hitting a trampoline. And then a worker at the Italian restaurant catty-corner to me comes out back to take out the trash, and we locked eyes in the closest I will ever come to an out-of-body experience. And the next day, I told myself I would cut out dairy.
But
next week, I was back on dairy.
Yeah, of course.
Long. But.
I mean, there's no shortage of plastic bags in any home, so it's
right.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is we had a whole bag full of other bags. So
exactly, that's that's so many BMs. It's no problem.
I can easily maintain this for another couple weeks.
All right, Adam's song. George Bailey from the classic film It's a Wonderful Life has learned one thing from his ordeal in the movie. A great way to drum up more business is to threaten to kill yourself.
Yeah, so this was the hardest one to write a sketch for because it's obviously so dark. And yeah, this was I just remember watching It's a Wonderful Life. You know the movie, right?
Right, yeah.
So he's short on money and thinks that he's going to kill himself to cash in life insurance for his family. And then this angel comes down and shows him what the world would be like without him. And at the end of the movie, the day is saved because all the townsfolk found out how bad his plight was, and they all come and donate money. And I was like, that's very touching, but I feel like the real lesson here that he learned was that he should always threaten to kill himself, and that'll guilt people into putting their money in his bank.
Well, I think it sort of speaks to the problem on the album, too, is that you can't just all of a sudden have a serious suicide discussion after a song about diarrhea and before a song that sounds like a child's pop song.
Yeah, it's a real interesting turn. It's it's a weird, and it's very interesting because there's, I perform at I.O., I also perform at Second City sometimes, and they do more sketch comedy, so they'll do a 2-act sketch review, and they have kind of a very structured format for how they do the running order of a sketch show, and they're open with a sketch with some energy, and then some quick, like 30-second short things. And then like in the middle, you kind of want to have like your more grounded, serious scene that's like well acted, but still has some good laughs. And then like later on, you have the run out of the show where it's just like a lot of energy. But it's kind of crazy how the album like mirrored a nice sketch show running order, just in the energy of the album kind of builds and crescendos in that way that sketch show works well too.
Damn. So maybe the person who sequenced the album was up on his like yes and whatnot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, or he's just like, yeah, let's talk about suicide now. Really zing him with a trigger.
All right, All the Small Things, a song that I really don't like. So here you do you say you do a stand-up slot where you read a list of family rules and expectations that your dad gave you in high school.
Yeah, so my dad gave me this list of, like, very detailed list, and I do a sort of, like, story about my dad, who, my dad's an engineer, and, like, me and all three of my siblings are engineers, so we primarily communicate through these bulleted lists. And he gave me this absurd list that had like different subsections of different expectations and things like he's like, I will provide transportation for essential school activities lacking bus availability. Like I'm like, this is a weird cover your ass document that I don't understand why you're giving to like a 15-year-old. And my favorite part of this list is at the end, the last item that he says, he's like, here's the rules and here's the things that that we are committed to providing you. And some things like, we'll give you, he includes like leisure access to common areas, and like weird shit like that. Yeah, it's bizarre. When I was 15, I was like, oh, this is normal for a dad to give a kid. And now I have this thing that the last bullet is general moral support. And I'm like, what the fuck, Dad?
So how did it tie into All the Small Things?
It was, so I sort of talk about it like as I'm introing the list that it took me a long time to like stop being angry at my dad for what I wanted him to be, like for not being what I wanted him to be, and start appreciating him for who he is. Because, you know, no one's ever going to be, you know, the perfect, you know, your perfect expectation of what they are.
Right.
And he's able to, you know, provide what he has. And there is like he's like, yeah, he will provide general moral support. It's just going to be in a document. And it took me a little while, like it took me until I was an adult to really appreciate, like the things that he did and the way that he expressed love to his family that I maybe didn't understand how to receive and reciprocate. And that was kind of like the lesson that I learned from this, reading through this list, which on its face is bizarre. And then I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it.
Awesome. So, okay, Party Song, easily according to our take, is the most like toxic masculinity kind of song on the album.
Oh yeah.
But so your thing is a film noir monologue from a detective in the horniest town on earth, Fuck City.
Oh yeah, this is one chapter from sadly a 6-chapter film noir concept that I've been working on called Tales from Fuck City, and it is also the most like gross, like hypersexual, and like we try to like it's all kind of delivered in that sort of detective voice, and it's like, you know, like everybody in Fuck City is committed to nonstop intercourse 24/7, 369. Mayor Tilda Swinton added 4 extra days for fucking. And then it's got like, there's only one rule in town, 100% enthusiastic consent. Seriously, everyone is down and everyone's super into it. They practice active communication and respect all boundaries because, oh boy, otherwise this concept's a runaway freight train with a safety wheel.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. See, you are. That's probably what you learned from the list, was to just make sure that everything is legally binding when you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the one takeaway. Not like respect for other people. It's just make sure that you got your ducks in a row and everything.
Yeah.
And
dot the i's.
Yeah.
Okay, Mutt, a centaur on his first day in a new school.
This one was mostly just kind of inspired by just the name of the song Mutt, that I wanted to do this character who he kind of explains like, oh, my mom was the 2015 Kentucky Derby winner and my dad was her trainer. And it's like centaur who's...
So is that really how you believe centaurs exist, is from a human fucking a horse? I never really thought of that.
I mean, it makes... probably the most sense.
I guess so. Yeah.
It was mostly just to like have that joke in there, but
yeah, for sure.
But I mean, in a show about a guy who is, you know, hardcore alien truther, I mean, there's stranger things.
That's true. That's true. So Wendy Clear, I'm so happy to see that your old roommate pops up again, but he's all grown up, recording a video, in case he's killed in his quest to become the first person to cross the Panama Canal on a kiteboard. So first of all, are you still friends with this this quail breast testicle man, or no?
No, I have not talked to him since college. We roomed together freshman year. We did not room together sophomore year.
So is any of this based on anything true, or you're just sort of imagining where this dork is now?
This is all sort of imagined where he might be, and sort of mirrored what I kind of perceived in the album, that there's kind of this growth and like they sort of get a little more nostalgic and like appreciative, and this one especially, like the lines like "let's take the boat out on the bay, forget your job for just one day," like reminded me a lot of like a dad who is wanting to have like, you know, father-son time with his kid before he's all grown up. So the video that he records is like fatherly advice to his son in case he's killed in this attempt to kiteboard on the Panama Canal, since he won't be there to raise his son, that he wants to like give him his fatherly tips.
Awesome. And then finally, Anthem, which you've sort of already talked about, but this is pretty interesting. So it's a song from the founder of the genetic site 23andMe about how the reason he started the company is because he has a fetish for strangers' spit.
Yeah. This one was like I kind of had this song kicking around, and then like weirdly started seeing like kind of weird parallels in Anthem, and like it talks so much about like mom and dad possess the key and type of things. You know, like all of these songs, they're some are close interpretations and some are a little more loose. But I really wanted to do a song about, like, you're familiar with 23andMe, where you like spit in a cup and you send it to them, and
I'm not, but I guess I don't have the same Google alerts as you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely have a Google alert just for
spit play.
Spit play and strange genetics. But it's basically this company where they'll send you a vial and you like spit in the vial, and then they do a DNA test and they'll tell you, you know, what your genetic makeup is of like where in the world you're from. If you're like certain percent like Central Europe, certain percent like Sub-Saharan African, all these different areas. Like they can check your genome and tell you where you're from. And I just thought it was so strange, like, and especially now, like when you look at like Facebook and how much they just invade your privacy, and it's like, I'm just sending my DNA to this company to do who knows what with it.
Right.
And
I'd rather send my DNA to the stars.
Yeah, absolutely, because then it would be in the stars.
Exactly.
They'll put it on a rocket and send it out there.
Perfect. So, do you plan to do this show again, or do you plan to release it somehow, or what's the next thing? Because it seems like you've done a lot of work to only do it once.
Yeah, so I had like a 4-week run at I.O., which was very fun. We also filmed it the last week, so I'm hopefully getting that video all compiled and put online. And then, hopefully I can do it again, maybe do some comedy festivals and tour around with it a bit. A buddy of mine recently finished up like a half-hour stand-up set that he's trying to film and then tour with. So we're trying to put together a little like summertime small Midwest tour of dates with it.
Cool. Rad. Well, before we play the audio for Don't Leave Me, is there anything else that we need to know about you or anything you want to plug or anything like that?
Sure. What I would love to plug is I have a podcast that's coming out soon. It'll probably be late April or May. It's called Murder Town. And it's me and my friend Shannon Knoll. And we play sort of NPR-style investigators in a show that's kind of similar to like Serial or S-Town, where we go to investigate a cold case murder in a small town, and it turns out that everyone's getting murdered there all the time, and we keep getting overwhelmed by new murders.
So it's kind of like Fuck City, but with murders.
Yes, it's absolutely Fuck City with murders.
Perfect. Cool. Awesome.
Raiders.
Great. Well, thanks so much for coming on the pod, and I guess we'll play the audio from Don't Leave Me now.
Doug, Larry, how you doing, boys? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, man, the weather out there crazy, am I right? The rest of you don't know me. My name's Paul Shearing. I'm the creator and producer of the hit show Prison Break. What's up? And what can I say, baby? We back. Season 5 streaming right now. Now, Fox did decline to pick up Season 6, their loss, because they said the show turned into a revolving door of Michael and Lincoln breaking out of and then getting thrown into different prisons. Okay, fine. All right? But I'm not apologizing. That is not why I got into television, all right? I am saying cha-ching and hello to you good folks at ABC Family, because I have 8 new seasons of Prison Break to pitch to you right now. All right, let's kick it off. All right, number 1. All right, Michael breaks out of prison but needs to find some way to clear his name. Turns out the only way to do that is for Lincoln to get himself thrown in prison, huh? Okay, let's change it up. All right, so let's start season 2. Michael and Link are both in prison, but on opposite sides of the country. So now Michael has to break out of his prison and travel cross-country, a road trip, and break out Link. What he doesn't know is Lincoln is breaking out of his prison and going cross-country, a double road trip, and they pass in Omaha like ships in the night. What's up, huh? Okay, I'll try something different. Michael and Link both break out of prison, but in a cruel twist of fate, they find out everyone else on the planet is in prison. Yeah, this is pretty great, right? And when they have the whole planet to themselves, Michael and Link find out that the Earth is a bit like a prison. Okay, let's do something. Let's go completely on the opposite side of the spectrum here. Michael and Link get thrown in a Turkish prison, and they're having the time of their lives, okay? With their strict, overbearing father figure Salazar, plus their monkey sidekick Bertrand, and a rotating cast of kooky guest stars. Can you say John Stamos as a Turkish pedophile? I can. He's on contract right now, okay? Michael and Link find out that being in a Turkish prison isn't a death sentence. Or is it? It is. They're on death row in Turkey. You hate it? Okay, let's do something different. Let's do just some quick shots. Prison Break, the college years. Okay, no. Prison Break tacitly endorses the prison industrial complex. Okay. No. Prison Spring Break, you know what I'm talking about. Talking about eating ass. All right. No? Okay. But that's totally fair. Okay, one more. This is going to blow you guys' mind. Michael and Link break out of prison with a stolen bag of grain. Then they reach a river with a boat that can only carry 2 items. Now, if you leave Michael and the bag of grain on one side, Lincoln gets thrown into prison, Michael has to break him out. If you leave the bag of grain and Link on one side, Michael gets thrown into prison. Now, this is where it gets interesting, okay? You leave Michael and Link on the same side, they both get thrown into prison, and the bag of grain has to break them out. No, you hate all of them and want me to die? Okay.
Don't leave me all alone. Just drop me off at home. I'll be fine. It's not the